Today's High Performance Podcast is brought to you by Josh Phegan Digital. It's where you'll find our incredible short courses. In under 60 minutes, you'll grow all the key skills, covering specific areas like how to hire an assistant, grow a team, to list better properties, to grow better fees, and to master your pipeline. Welcome to High Performance, the podcast featuring Josh Phegan and Alexander Phillips. Alex, today we want to talk about a really important skill set, and that is presentation dynamics. And I know this sounds funny, but a lot of people walk into a listing presentation but give no thought outside of just content. How important is it about the way that you turn up, how you dress, where you sit at the table, whether or not you take notes, the types of conversations that you have, the questions that you ask, to get that engagement from those vendors, and particularly for maybe people that you don't know versus the people that you do?
Yeah, hi Josh, thanks for having me again. I think something that I've learned, probably been with you for 20 years, is having the full engagement of the vendors.
Yes.
None of my listing appointments, I see any switch off or them distracted or thinking about anything else. You get them fully engaged, which is super important on asking the right questions, not waffling on about stuff they don't need to know about. There's you can ask 4 or 5 questions that controls the entire listing presentation and keeps them engaged. If you lose that engagement, you lose that focus, and you're probably not going to get that listing. So, I think a couple of things that are very important is, obviously, the minute you arrive, on how you introduce yourself, how present you are, making sure you don't have your phone with you, making sure you shake hands, look them in the eyes, ask them what they love about the house, ask them to show you around the house, make sure they come with you around the house. When you do sit down, what's really important, when they go, let's just sit on the couch, I never do. I always make sure we do sit down at a table. I always do ask, is there a particular seat that's yours? Because I know at my own home, there's a certain seat that I like.
Is there?
Yeah. And you can offend people sometimes with that. And then, it's about making sure that you control the conversation, but those questions you've asked will help you do that.
So one of the things, taking notes, you're a really big one on it. I see a lot now.
That's notes before getting to the listing appointment, not
so writing before you get that expectations.
Very few. I do notes or do graphs or show things when we're there, but the notes that I write, it's pretty much the same sort of formula for each listing appointment, but it gets me in the zone, because the notes I'm writing is what case studies, what brochures do I take, how do I talk about it, what's relevant to them. When I went in Bondi on Friday, we're up against a couple of agents, and I took 2 Bondi sales this year that are around the 10 mark, which we've done, or 8 to 10 that our agency's done, both of them that were the most relevant to theirs, which no other agent has done. So it's be on the front foot rather than someone talking about a sale last year, which I think is now irrelevant. So, I think the case studies are super important, because if you don't go in prepared and have like for like, they're going, well, hang on, why are you showing me this house? My house is worth 7. You're showing me semis at 5. You're going to have the wrong buyers, or you don't actually know what I'm talking about. And that comes down to this house I've sold it twice before, be the third time if we get it. That I just also want to make sure, have they done any renovation since buying? Because you don't presume that they have or haven't, because they might have spent $2 million on it and it's now a $10 million house versus 7. So again, that comes down to that pre-listing conversation that you have with people to make sure you are going with the right information.
Time limitation is an interesting one, because some people have a very long listing presentation, other people are quite short. Do you prep the owner before you come to say roughly we're going to need about 45 minutes or so rather than an hour or 2? And if you are there, how do you actually make sure that it's enough time? Because maybe at a cease estate where it's very emotional, or maybe somebody's moving to a nursing home, it might need more time purely for them, not for you.
I know that I do them on the hour, every hour. If sometimes it might be 5 a day. I know that I can, if I'm controlling it the right way, I can be out of there within 45 minutes or half an hour. So, there's appraisals that you do that they're they're rushed, but then you're why am I actually going out to this appointment? Am I being used? They've already got an agent. I actually asked them the question, I'm not going to give you 10 minutes. I've got 15 minutes. I'll generally just even can that appointment because I know that
you don't have the appropriate pitch time.
Yeah, but also like they're not engaged. They've got some other agenda they're not being upfront about.
Yes.
So you really need to ask those right questions. Like I went into one the other day and they had 4 agents in. I've been speaking to them for 20 years and I said, well, why you'd call me last? But why am I actually coming? You've had 4 agents. He goes, I was always going to use you. I just want to get 4 opinions so I can work out the lowest and highest. So I knew what you were saying was right.
Mm-hmm.
But so I thought, shit, I'm the 5th agent. So if I didn't ask that question, I'm like, I still went in there like a full appraisal and everything. But if I was a 5th agent generally, I'd be like, this is just like throw a roll of the dice. But I ask that question saying, why am I actually here?
And my brain thinks about the other 4 agents. Are they aware that they're potentially being used about price and marketing before you come in?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so if they were going to try to shake you, how do they pitch that they're different to Alex Phillips?
Exactly. And they probably could. And I said to them, did anyone show you comparables? Yes. I said, did anyone bring a top buyer list? And said, no. I said, well, I'm going to sit down with you and show you who the best buyers are in the market. And when I went into the house, I'd sold every single house in the street. It's a very small street, it's only 10 houses in the street. And I talked about who bought them, when they sold, who used to rent them, where they've moved to, who we've sold to. Like even though like he sort of said, I was going to give you the business, we still went in like fully armed. But we went in like still with the best angle because we worked out what the other agents didn't do.
Yes. And that's really the skill set. Yeah. Learning how to pitch and present in a way that people go, we're going to use you.